My name is Maciej. Hello to everyone. I work for PSNC and I'm a software developer here at GÉANT. Next to me there is Tomasz, who is a quality assurance engineer, also working on software catalog here in GÉANT. And there is also Marcin, who is our task leader and will be here to answer the most tricky questions, I think.
Yes, hello everyone, and good morning from the very sunny Poznań, Poland.
Okay, so now we are switching off the video and turning on presentation slides. So during this webinar, we will introduce you to GÉANT software catalog, and we will show you how you can benefit from using this application. So before we start, a few sentences as a background. So GÉANT project is mostly about GÉANT network and making and providing connectivity to NRENs and to the Europe. Anyway, there are lots of activities related to software development in GÉANT. And on this slide, you can see only selected examples of such, like trainings, testing of the software, transition into production procedure led by the PLM team. There is also software development infrastructure provided by GÉANT to the community, and lots of software integration activities like teams using software produced by other teams. More or less 2 years ago, GN42 SA2 determined the need for having an actual information about software development in GÉANT, about teams and their products. They expected to have a coherent and comprehensive source of such information. But there was no single repository that could enumerate existing software development projects. So why is it so? Actually, this information was available to the community, but it was dispersed in various sources. So one group of those sources were GÉANT hosting platform, which included Git source code repository, Jira issue tracker, Confluence wiki pages, and the intranet page. The other are GitHub and GitLab hosting platforms, as well as individual code repositories or issue trackers installed in NRENs. So as you can see, the information was really dispersed among multiple different sources. One may ask, what about wiki pages? Why couldn't we use simple wiki pages to build the catalog? Of course, technically it is possible, but this approach has some drawbacks. So wiki pages are manually maintained, and for that reason they are error prone and tend to become outdated. So because of this, the information in such a catalog would not be trusted. We couldn't trust this kind of information. So because SA2 T1 had to do their job, they had to produce some deliverables and report on software development efforts for GÉANT. They decided to collect software development information manual. They identified 20 teams working on about 30 projects, and they created so-called identity cards. An example of such identity card is shown on the picture. So it's very basic information, mostly like contacts and resources related to the project. Anyway, this took a lot of effort. And because of that, it's a one-time solution. It could be repeated. It can't be repeated because it costs much. And this is the reason why these people decided to change the state and solve the problem by introducing a software catalog. So what is software catalog? It is a central application that is able to collect information from multiple different sources, understand it, and transform into a searchable vector. So you can imagine those multiple sources as presented on previous slides. But here we can see concrete examples. For example, GÉANT Jira, which contains tasks that team works on. GÉANT Git contains source code, so every contribution to the code is there, every commit. But there is an interesting source as well, which is named GÉANT Manage. It delivers useful information about people working in GÉANT, about contacts, full names, and details that we need to build a full profile of each person. So GÉANT Software Catalog does collect information automatically. And I would say 95% of information is collected in that way. However, some manual input may be needed. This has been minimized, so don't be afraid. It doesn't cost much to put any information there, but it is needed. At least name of the project and few sentences of the description to let other people understand your project, what it's about, and what's the purpose of it. What's important to understand is that software catalog can collect information from different sources, but it's like a one-way propagation. It can't share the information back. So any information put into catalog can be propagated back to other sources. Knowing that, it may happen that some information may be incorrect, or you may find some typo in your name or in the other element. It is worth to make the correction in software catalog, but maybe it's better idea to make that correction at source. So for example, go to Jira issue tracker, correct the typo in your name, so that you can be sure that next time software catalog will know the proper name. When it comes to basic design principles, software catalog is interested in GÉANT software projects, not all the projects in the world, but only those produced by the GÉANT community. It's about organizational and technical aspects of software development, mainly projects and teams. The big value of software catalog is that in comparison to previous approach where information was dispersed, it provides a unified structure, unified view on multiple different projects, no matter where they are hosted and which technologies, which platforms are used for implementation. Software catalog is not a public service, so it needs authentication, and only GÉANT participants are authorized to use software catalog. By design, software catalog should provide you only the most recent data. This is possible because of the high level of automation. As I said, 95% of information is collected automatically, and that's the guarantee that you always see the true information about the project. To make the application useful, there are lots of functions providing exploration and reporting functionality. As you may imagine, the role of the catalog in the GÉANT ecosystem would be to improve transparency around software and to complement the existing GÉANT tool suite, like wiki, intranet, or development tools. So the transparency can be improved by providing a global view, facilitating communication and reasoning, improving information availability, because the information was always available for the users, but the cost to get it was very high. So now Software Catalog improves this availability. It accelerates processes and clarifies uncertainty and untruth. So to better imagine the software and how you can benefit from it, let's look at the user stories. As a software engineer, you can search for projects doing a related work so that you can start cooperating. So it's very easy to find projects similar to yours. As a training coordinator, for example, you can get an overview of project characteristics so that you can better plan training activities. For example, you can find teams that use Scrum to plan the agile training. As a leader, you can search for contact points and people responsible so that when planning your high-level work, you can easily find the most important people. As a team member, you can search for people with specific competences so that you can start exchanging experience. Or as an infrastructure provider, you can get an overview on projects and teams to identify their demands and to better adjust the service to their needs. And finally, as anybody, you can get an overview of software development efforts in your organization, which in our case is GÉANT, so that you can make better decisions about, and here you can put what's most important for you. So now it's time for making a live demo. So please give me 10 seconds to switch to the web browser. Okay, so how to get to Software Catalog? The official instance is available at sc.geant.org. When you go there, you can see a screen similar to this one. Then you need to authenticate with your federated authentication account. As I said, only GÉANT participants have access to this tool. So now it's time for live demo, which will be provided by Tomasz, and I'm passing voice to him.
Okay, so hello again to everyone. My name is Tomasz, and today I will show you some of the basic features of the GÉANT software catalog. Okay, so let's start with the most important function of the software catalog, which is adding the project. Let's say that we receive a request of add a newly created project in GÉANT. To do this, we have to go to the Add Project section. Okay, as we can see on the page, system requires some basic information about the project. And in this area, we have required information without which we will not be able to add our project. So the first is the project ID. Project ID is the shortest and main representation of our project, and the way that system recognizes any individual project in the system.
So I guess this is the value that is shown in the URLs, for example.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. The second one is full name of the project, and this is just name for our projects, thanks to which it will be easier to find in Catalogue.
It looks like it's a very basic information about the projects.
Yes.
This should be easy to be filled by any
Yes.
project maintainer, actually.
We can do this in a few seconds. Okay. So the last required information is development status. And this field informs us that the project is actively developed or not.
So Software Catalog is able to store information about past projects as well.
Yes, exactly. So let's stay this option checked for our project. Okay. Now we have all the required information completed, but there are some other available, and they are optional. But for the best software catalog operation, it is important to complete them all. So let's start with the first of them, and it is task. Task relates to the structure of the organization. Okay, now we have the description of our project, and this is just a few sentences describing our project. For example, we can explain problems that the software is solving.
So this looks like quite important piece of information to let people find your project in the catalog,
Yes,
among many others.
Yes, exactly. Okay, and at the end of this optional information, we have some sources, which is Jira projects and Git repositories. And you need to remember that from these two sources, the whole process of discovering starts, and all that system knows about projects and people gathers from them.
So actually, although these fields are optional, it's critical to fill them, because without that information, Software Catalog will not be able to discover anything, right?
Yes, exactly. Okay. So for our project, we have two sources, and let's start with the Jira. Okay, as we can see, in Jira, Jira required two informations, Jira domain and Jira projects. But we have also the Jira link option, and we can pass the Jira URL, and then these two fields will be filled automatically. So let's try with the Jira link. So now I'm go to the our project in Jira and copy the URL.
I think it's worth to mention that Software Catalog is actively developed right now, and Jira, maybe for now, Jira is the only issue tracker supported, but we are going to implement more when the community needs them, right?
Yes. Okay, so now we can see that these two fields are completed, and now we can add our source. Okay, we can see now that on the sources from Jira, there is one position added on the list. And of course, if we want to, we can add as many sources that we need to add.
Okay, good to know it.
Okay. So now the Git source. Okay, for this source, a system requires only one information, which is the Git URL. And it is important to give the correct URL. So if we have never had a project and don't know where to get this proper URL, we can check it by clicking option below.
Okay, so Git URL is like everyone developer should know it because it's the link that is used to download the source code.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So now we know how to get the proper URL. So let's go to the GitHub and copy needed URL. Okay, so like in Jira case, we also have one position added to our list, and also we can add more sources to Git.
I think it's worth to say right now that for GitHub repositories, if there are some issues reported to the project on GitHub, they will be also discovered.
Yes.
So although it's not stated here, it will be done.
Yes. Okay, so finally, we can add correctly completed project to the system. Okay, so now the process of discovering project has been started, and now we are redirected to the project's view. Okay, as we can see, our project have been created. And for the first thing that we should do after creating a project is to check the project log for errors appearances. So in here, we can see that there is no errors, which is desired results, and there are 3 warnings. Okay, to check the full list, we can click the project log. And from the log, system informs us that warnings concern about some missing data in our project.
So they are missing because these are those data that needs to be input manually, right? So,
yes, exactly.
Okay.
This is again a part of some optional data, but like I said earlier, for the best catalog operation, we should complete them all. Okay, so let's do that.
Can we categorize freely? Like, am I restricted in choosing categories, or I can propose mine?
Yes, that's a good question, and we can choose the existing one option from the list, or created our own option. For example, and now we have one category added, and we can choose some other from the list. For example, software development.
So these categories should improve searching capabilities, like when you,
yes, exactly.
When you are searching for directory projects, then or software development projects, then it's easy to find them, right?
Yes, and now we can accept the changes. Okay, and it was success. So let's do that for 2 other informations. You can take Scrum.
Okay, so this is that 5% of information that its catalog is not able to collect automatically.
Yes, exactly. Okay, and now we have completed our project in 100%. And as we can see from the log, for now there is no warnings and no errors. Okay. Of course, we should check the correctness of all data discovered by the software catalog. If there was some incorrect, we can change most of them manually in the catalog, but like Maciej said on the presentation, it is recommended solution is to change data at the source. Okay, and also if we have some errors or problems that we cannot solve, the contact to the team can be found on the welcome page or in section about.
Okay.
Okay. So now we have our project added, but what if we want to explore some other projects in the system? So the software projects section is the best place to start. Here is a list of all projects about which the software catalog knows. Also, for a faster and more convenient search of information, system offers filters created for this purpose. So in the filters, we can find search project. It means searching with a phrase that refers to the project ID, name of the project, and its description.
Okay, so this is why it's important to put those information into the catalog. I mean, this manual information, because if someone tries to find your project but don't know the exact name or any exact information, then it's possible that the search, the text search, can be helpful, right?
Yes, exactly.
So what about other filters?
Okay, so another filter is easy code, work package, and task. And this is the code that relates to the structure of the organization. And it looks like this.
Okay.
Okay. So another, we have category, and category filter informs us mainly about the subjects or topics that projects present.
Sure, that's clear.
Okay. And now we have technology. This filter relate to frameworks and libraries or other third-party component used for implementation in project. And in here we have Maven, Bootstrap, or jQuery.
They should be well known for developers, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so now we have SDLC, and SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle, and refers to the way that development works are performed. And for example, we have here Scrum. Okay. Another filter is programming language. And in here, we can filter the list of projects to search for a project in which the specific programming language was used. So for example, we have here XML, JSON, and many, many more.
So it's very often the case that a single project contains multiple languages.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Next, we have practices. which complementing each other and usually support effective teamwork. And in here we have user stories, TDD, or Free Amigos. Okay, and at the end, we have development status that informs us whether the project is actively developed.
Okay, Tomek, I think these filters are clear, but can we combine them somehow? Can we use multiple filters at the same time?
So, okay, so if we now know what all the filters are for, let's try to sum of them and try to find our project that we add earlier. So for the first, let's try with the search project. And we can type our project ID. And as we see, on the first position on the list is our new created project. Okay. So let's say that we didn't remember our project ID, but we know that we mentioned that the project was related to the software catalog. So let's try to type software catalog.
Okay, we got more than one result. So it looks like these results are similar to Google. So the best match is on the top.
Yes, exactly. And as we can see, we have our project, which is related to software catalog, and also we have software catalog itself. Okay. In here, we have also the active filters, and we can clear them all as we need it.
Okay. So yeah, I think the filtering is clear, Tomasz, but can we find people in a similar way?
Yes. So we have also the list of all GÉANT members registered by the catalog, which can be found in people section.
Okay.
And also we have here the list of the registered people and the filters that have been created for faster searching.
I have one question here. I can see there is one filter already enabled.
Yes, this filter is enabled to show the people from the currently phase of GÉANT.
Okay, so software catalog knows more than current participants of GÉANT. So like past phases of GÉANT are probably also here.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is a default filter.
Yes, exactly.
To see only those people who are currently in GÉANT.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe you are interested in whether the system knows anything about you. If so, I encourage you to check this after the webinar. And for now, I will skip this part of the catalog.
Okay.
Okay. So now we have our project added. We know how to find other projects and people, but what if we would like to look at everything from a bigger perspective and find out, for example, how many projects are in the GÉANT, or maybe know some numbers about GÉANT. Okay, so all that information we can find in the stats section. Okay, here we can find the most interesting statistics about the work performed or completed by the GÉANT members. Okay, so for example, from the first statistics, we can learn that all active projects in GÉANT is almost 30, and there is only one inactive project.
Okay, so the majority of projects is actively developed, and one has been retired, probably.
Yes.
Okay.
In turn, the next statistics tell us how many people are currently in the catalog. And we can see that is 1,000 and almost 700. We can check how many of them are assigned to projects, and it's almost 600. And also how many of them are in the current phase of GÉANT.
Okay, so from this visualization, we can see that there are lots of people that software catalog knows, but only part of them are related to some software development projects, and only part of them are actually participants of current GÉANT project.
Yes.
Okay. But can we learn something about the code base, for example?
Okay, maybe we can find it in our statistics.
Okay, here's an interesting statistics I can see. It's like lines of code by languages.
Yes. And here we have gathered information about the programming languages that was used in every project in the system. And we can see that, for example, XML language have almost 1.5 million lines of code.
Okay, so but I guess this relates to the whole code base developed by the GÉANT community. So
yes.
It's not like for a single project, it's like
yes.
the whole catalog. Okay.
Okay, so we can see that almost 1 million lines of code was created using JavaScript.
So it looks like from the real programming languages, JavaScript is a leader, but then we have Python and Java.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So, of course, there are much more statistics, but I will not spend more time to discuss each of them. And I will just show you the rest of them. And if you are interested in, I invite you to look at them after the webinar by yourself.
Okay. Yeah, the statistics are very similar to the ones that developers know from Stack Overflow yearly survey.
Yes. I think there is very much interesting statistic in here, and it is good to see them by yourself.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that's all we wanted to say today about the catalog. And maybe now is the time for some questions.
Yeah.